This is Capital T Truth. Here we expose the beliefs, patterns, and trauma loops that have kept you limited. I'm Larry Yatch, a former Navy SEAL officer and entrepreneur who learned the hard way that the strategies that create success can also quietly destroy the quality of your life. This work exists to expose that truth. If you're ready for freedom through alignment, you're in the right place. For me, the fundamental distinction for ambition is a desire for change. And so ambition in and of itself, at the very most fundamental level, is desire for change. And you can have ambition for anything in your life, in your personal life, your professional life, in relationships. Anytime that you have a desire for change, you have ambition. You say you want change in your life, yes. So let's fan that flame, right?
And I was
so let's get more and more and more. Like, I want more and more and more. And they speak more and more and more. Mm-hmm. And then you would spend a bunch of time too on the development side of it, right. Like giving them the tools to it. And then they wouldn't
do
take
anything.
action.
And I had no idea it was because they didn't have the desire. The true desire.
They didn't have ambition.
Okay, they didn't have ambition. See, this is what I'm saying. This is where we're learning together. This is where I love that we get to learn together.
Leadership at its most fundamental level is creating positive change in another's life, mm-hmm. right? Like that's it, changing their behavior, modifying their behavior. That's all leadership is. Manipulation is the same thing, modifying another's behavior. There's a big difference between the two. And the big difference between leadership and manipulation is that when I lead, I create behavior change in your life that benefits you and may or may not benefit me. When I manipulate you, I benefit myself at your cost. Mm-hmm. Are they the same tools? 100% the same tools. Right?
Same tools, two different intentions.
Welcome everyone, back for another episode of Capital T Truth podcast with Vicky and I. And this topic is a foundational topic, is the best way I can speak to it, is in that this topic of ambition is something that is in your professional life, your personal life, in your life for increasing consciousness. Understanding ambition not only gives you the ability to create change in your own life, but to be able to inspire change in other people's lives. So I'm super excited to go through this in depth, not only for all of you, but I know Vicky and I, both being entrepreneurs and business people, being able to understand ambition and apply it into our business worlds is just as powerful in our personal world. So this is going to be a good one. It's
a great one. I'm excited.
The best place to start is, as all of you spend more and more time with us, for me, language is everything. And being able to have clear distinctions that really differentiate one thing from another. So differentiating ambition from drive or purpose allows us to start leveraging that information for change in our lives, change in other people's lives. And so I think that's one of the best places to start when it comes to ambition. And for me, the fundamental distinction for ambition is a desire for change. And so ambition in and of itself, at the very most fundamental level, is desire for change. And you can have ambition for anything in your life, in your personal life, your professional life, in relationships. Anytime that you have a desire for change, you have ambition.
And the thing about the language part, which is great, which I love, you'll hear him correct me all morning long. So, which is fantastic, because we're not trying to show up here perfect. And we're just trying to show up here to just be better every single day, which is amazing. So the desire was a big one for me personally. I know with us working together for a long time, because I would come to you and I would say, Larry, I want this in my life, and I want that in my life, and I want that in my life. And you're like, okay, well, why? And a lot of times I didn't even know why. And you helped pull that out for me. And a lot of it happened to be that I just wasn't happy in the position I was today, whether that was relationship or whether that was career. I didn't even know that I wasn't making a change in my life, because I really actually didn't have a desire, because I wasn't necessarily dissatisfied with the moment I was in. I just thought I needed to change. I'm really ambitious. I wanna reach this goal, or I want this in my relationship. And the way that you broke it down fundamentally, it was very helpful for me.
That desire for change, I think we've been having a series of conversations around this topic for the last 4, 5, 6 months, specifically within your business, right? So you run a relatively, I wouldn't say relatively, a large sales business, right? A business based on selling and having individuals go out, and the selling they do isn't necessarily the easiest, right? It's all relationship building, which takes effort and time and all that stuff. And one of the things that brought this topic up between us was your frustration that you had a lot of people speaking with ambition but not acting in it. What did that look like? Because I think that for people to understand, okay, ambition is desire for change. That's a good fundamental understanding, but there's a difference between speaking ambition and having ambition.
Right, for sure. For me personally, in that career aspect, it was that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. And after you've worked with so many people for so many years and you don't see that their behaviors are matching their language, then you start realizing, okay. And I just always thought all I had to do was be the motivator. Like if I'm there and inspiring them and motivating them and loving on them and hugging them and sending them a fruit basket, that was going to be enough.
And teaching, developing was the other big thing for you, I know as well, right?
Yes.
Like, oh yes, there was the motivation side.
Yes.
You say you want change in your life, so let's fan that flame, right?
And
so let's get more and more and more. Like I want more and more and more. And they speak more and more and more. And then you would spend a bunch of time too on the development side of it, like giving them the tools to it, and then they wouldn't take action.
And I had no idea it was because they didn't have the desire. The true desire.
They didn't have ambition.
Okay, they didn't have ambition. See, this is what I'm saying. This is where we're learning together. This is where I love that we get to learn together still. And I've been practicing this for so long.
Yeah. Well, that's what, so why did I make that distinction, right? Having desire and ambition to me are two different things, right? Desire for change is where I can speak it. True ambition, you actually create change, because that's where you have a whole bunch of people that sit in the dissatisfaction of today. I don't like today. I don't like where I am today. I want to be somewhere else. But then they don't do anything. Do those people truly have ambition? No. They have desire. They have this feeling of I want something, but actually no movement for change. Right. And that's where, when we get to the fundamentals of ambition, there's parts to it, like core parts that if you don't have these parts, then people don't have ambition. But even before that, one of the big pieces for me is coming from especially my background in the SEALs, right? If you think of a Navy SEAL, would you consider them low or high ambition people? Like high ambition, right? And within that high ambition, it's massive desire for change with absolutely no block. Like there's nothing you can put in front of a SEAL. If the mission success is on the other side, they're not going to just bash their way through.
Right.
And so I came from an environment where the just desire without change, without movement, and desire and movement were always together. Like if someone said they were going to do something, they did it. Right? If they were tasked with a mission, accepted that mission, they accomplished that mission. I thought that was just, everyone was high ambition. I also then connected the fact that high ambition was good and low ambition was bad. Right? And that in certain places, like I don't want a low ambition SEAL, right? But when I got into the business world, or the world where I had to build entire teams, right? It was important to understand that ambition wasn't good or bad. Like high ambition people and low ambition people wasn't like high ambition were good and low ambition were bad. Actually, every organization, every team, every family needs high ambition and low ambition people. If you don't have that mix, then you're going to have some problems.
It was interesting when you said that, because I was thinking in my mind, wouldn't it be amazing if everybody performed at that level, especially as an entrepreneur, or the business of your family, like how you run a family? Like if everybody performed like that, what a different world we would live in. I was dreaming while you were talking.
That's what's interesting, right? Because I mean, I would, your experience or background, like Navy SEAL in your domain, like you're at the highest levels of it, right? So when you take someone like you or me, who are very high ambition people, we generally just want to be around other high ambition people.
Yes.
We look at low ambition people as in worst judgments could be lazy or just whiners, right? Like, they don't actually do anything. And if you build an organization, a team where it's just high ambition people, you have problems because, again, what is ambition? It's desire for change that produces action, right? It's that combination of both.
Yeah.
If you have super high ambition in every person around you, everyone wants change all the time. And so you can't ever get anywhere.
Right.
Like, you can't ever coordinate together.
Right.
Because everyone wants change at all the times. And the way I always put it, the example I always give, I have a company, okay, in my company, do I want my CFO, my accountant, to be super high ambition, like changing, well, maybe we changed what we do with the IRS rules and regulations.
Yes,
like,
correct.
No, there's some people in the organization that we want to be low ambition, right? Where they don't want change. They want to come in every day, do the exact same thing. Yeah. They don't want anything to change in their life. If there's change, they get worried. They become the foundation. The analogy I always give is the low ambition people on a team are the foundation. They're like the launch pad. And then the high ambition people are the rocket ship. But if you have a rocket ship with no launch pad, you don't go anywhere. And if you have a whole bunch of rocket ships, or rocket ship with no pad, you don't go anywhere. If you have a pad and no rocket ships, no one ever goes anywhere either. So you need that combination of low ambition, the people you can rely on to do the same thing day in, day out. They actually have ambition for no change. And then you've got the high ambition people that are always, and often though in the entrepreneurial world, they refer to them as visionaries, right? Where it's like, okay, this is the next thing we're going to take.
Yeah.
And then your low ambition people get worried. Oh no, how are we going to do that? And so it was important for me, especially coming from a very high ambition environment and person, that ambition isn't good or bad, right? It was a matter of understanding not only having ambition be a tool that I use, where when I need someone to change, even if it's a low ambition person, I need them to change as a leader in the organization. It's my job to create a feeling of ambition in them so they will change. And so I look at it less as a character trait, like that's an ambitious person, that's a non-ambitious person, and understanding that ambition is merely a tool that I can use in my own life to create change where I want it to be, or where I desire to have that change, and in others' lives to help them create the change that they want.
It's so interesting because we've talked for so long, so many months, and I always grab some value every time we have a discussion, which is why I keep coming around. But it's so interesting because I'm like, I always have to be surrounded by ambitious people all the time because that's going to make me feel more empowered and drive me to want to be better, but not ever looking at those that are less ambitious than self. That's they're part of the plan. They're part of the framework. They're part of the team. And it's not a characteristic trait necessarily. It's what would you say? You said it's not really a trait.
It's
you
a tool.
Look at it more of a tool. And so when you're like, they're lazy, they're this, they're that, we're very quick on an everyday basis in life, and even in our own home life, the way that we say things about our children. Yeah. Right? And you know that I'm going through one of these moments right now in life.
Me too.
Yeah, that's true. We always are. I think it's constant.
It'd be interesting to bring those up because we have two very different experiences, right? Your experiences with an older child, right? Which I think many parents out there have experienced. Well, there are a lot of parents that have experienced having a mid to late 20s child that is showing no ambition.
Especially today.
Especially today, right? Yes. No ambition at all.
Yes.
And stuck.
And very stuck. So rather than us as a parent, maybe even, which would be a totally different episode about the way that we feel responsible for this. They all kind of go together, which we will need to do one. But that it is just... how is it that we can create a feeling inside of them, or not maybe we? So go ahead, correct me. Not
no,
we
you
create.
Got it. You got it.
Not we create a feeling.
I get to be proud of
Where is there an opportunity for me to create an opportunity to positively influence them to a different direction, maybe as a leader? in their life.
Yeah, here's a question for you.
Yes.
What does it look like? Like, and you can almost say stereotypically, what does it look like when a parent has super high ambition for their child and the child has no ambition for change? What does that look like?
Are you talking about my life? Until I met you? Oh, wow. What does that look like for who? Me or for them? Or just the environment?
Any which angle.
So I think,
if we're thinking, the audience listening out there, right? The parents, like, we have parents that I have more ambition for my child's change, and my child has ambition for their own change. Right? We have parents that say, I personally don't have a ton of ambition for my child, but I would like to give them the opportunity to have their own ambition, right? Which I think is kind of the healthiest place.
Yes.
And then I could imagine, like, I know for my parents, I had massive ambition as a kid, and they had zero for me, as in, like, they didn't push me in any way, shape, or form at all. So you got this spectrum of high on the parent, low on the kid. Let's call it not high on the parent, but giving the tool to the child to have it. And then on the other side, where the child has a ton of ambition, the parent doesn't have ambition for them.
So for me, I was the very ambitious parent and wanted everything for their child, so they too should be ambitious as well. I mean, it's almost like, do you know who your mom is? Like, yes. You know who your dad is? Like, you should be ambitious just like us. Yeah. And I think I do feel that most of us feel it comes from a good place. We want our kids to have a better life, but it's actually the wrong way to go about it, is what I've learned. Yeah. So then we get them to...
And are they asking for the better life?
And yes, that is a great point. Are they even asking for that? But
I know better. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So as a parent, wanting what's best for your children, a lot of that also for me personally came from a place that you see something in your child. You see this, they could do anything in the world. They're so smart. They're this. They're so loving. They're so kind. Like, why wouldn't they want more for themselves? But this is actually for me, it's also equally matched in my business, the people that I work with. You see also these traits inside of them, and you want more for people than sometimes they want for themselves, which circles right back to the topic of today, ambition. And to be able to understand this, which I know we're going to go into in a moment here, but to be able to understand it, but not just understand the concept, be able to also be an assist for other people. And honestly, for me, to release more of the self-imposed burden I put on myself, that I just thought I was supposed to always do it this way because this is the way my mom did it and this is the way her mom did it. And no, it doesn't actually have to be this way. And as we're learning together through this journey, that there's a lot more freedom when you do it opposite of the way that I just said that I've been experiencing it for 30 years. My daughter will be 30 next week. And for 30 years, I was the mom that had way more ambition for her than she had for herself. And now, because I've changed because of you, which I know we'll get into. Now she thinks I speak Chinese to her. When I'm just like, if that's what you want, honey, it's fine. You don't even have to do that. You could just do nothing and I'll still love you. She's like, why are you speaking like this to me? It's like she can't even understand the language I'm using anymore, because for 30 years, that was not the language I used with her.
So I was debating on where we go next, because this one, this will hit hard, both you and I'm sure people listening if we go down this road. But I think it's since we've been going into the parent-child thing, I think this is it's timely to hit this now. So just get ready. Like, some of you might feel like you're getting kicked in the stomach here.
But it feels really good.
It's good. Yeah, it's good to see it.
It's a loving kick.
So, and we know this is a huge topic for you, or at least I know it's a huge topic for you, is the performing for love.
Yes.
So how does that tie into this ambition, at least from, let's call it, the unhealthy drive of ambition, right? Ambition, again, is just a way to describe someone who has desire for change and is taking action towards that change, right? So that desire for change, ambition, is super neutral, but it can come from all different places, right? It can come from healthy places. It can come from unhealthy places. It can be good in a situation, it can be bad. It can be good on a team, it can be bad on a team. So that concept that ambition in and of itself has no good or bad, but the concept that it can come, like you can have massive ambition that comes from what I would consider a very unhealthy place. Right. And performing for love is one of the most common ones. How does that tie together for you?
For me personally, the performing for love. So as a child growing up, it was always how to have the perfect friends, how to make sure the grades were right, how to make sure that I spoke properly, I behaved properly. And when I did that, that's when my mother gave me the most praise, the most affection, the most adoration, the most attention.
Validation is the way I would say it.
External
right?
validation.
Yeah, and that's an interesting piece of, as a child, we can wrongly connect validation with love, right? So when your mom was validating that she liked your actions, right? Whatever action you took, did she love you more than let's call it the hour before, when she wasn't validating your actions?
So if you were to ask the 11-year-old Vicky, she would say yes.
100%.
So much. Did you see what I did? And when I do this, she loves me so much more.
And
so
when she's
much
mad
more.
at me, or when she's disappointed, she doesn't love me at all.
Yes, and it's so interesting because then I took those behaviors and that feeling of elevated love when I had my children. Yeah. And I not only did it just like her, I did it better.
Doubled it. Yeah.
Probably 10 times it, right? And the reason I did it is I was showing my children more love than she ever showed me in my mind. Yeah. And so now I have
much more validation, conditional.
Much more conditional. So now I have my kids that are constantly performing for my love. And until I saw it through the new lens, and call it the CapitalTTruth lens. But until I saw it through then, I had no idea. All I thought is, well, this is the way I felt the most loved from my mother when I was, and I grew up in a single household.
And to add on to that, right? Not only did you feel love, but did you improve your state in life?
Oh, yes.
Right. So again, the point I'm making with this is, not only did Vicky perceive that her mom loved her more when she did these actions, the world rewarded her with recognition, with money, with promotions, with things,
success,
right?
friends,
so you're getting both. You're getting both these validation, which we're really saying is I'm getting love from people if I do good things, and I'm producing accomplishments that, guess what, people value. I get more validation. So you're getting, triple threat of, if I perform well, then I get all these treats. People love me more, I accomplish stuff, people value my accomplishments.
And I brought that into my career.
Yeah.
I brought that into my friendships. I brought that into my marriage. I brought it everywhere because it was my at the time, my truth.
Yeah.
My truth. So now, seeing it through a different lens, having to unwind that and having a different experience with my children and letting them know, I just love you because you are my child. Because and we argued about this a little bit when I was like, I don't love my children conditionally. I love them unconditionally. Because as a parent, that's the one person you love unconditionally is your children. Of course I do. Right.
But how do you
But that's why I said we argued.
It? Like,
how do you express it?
You do love them
I do.
unconditionally.
Yes.
But
I express it so long as
express it conditionally.
Yes, yeah. I expressed it so long as you perform. And I just got reminded last week, even though I've been doing this work, and this work is a game, this work is a journey, it's a privilege, honestly. But I got reminded the other day that I'm still I'm still on this journey. When my son came down and said, well, it's nice that in 5 minutes you asked all the things if I've been doing them right or not. And I was like, no, I thought I was getting this right. But it is. It's ever educating myself every single day.
Being present. To me, present and aware, right?
Yeah.
Like present and aware. Like now that, and even just for the people listening, to be able to have a distinction between validation and love, which most of you would have not been able to describe the difference between a parent validating a child's behavior versus the love that they feel for them. And knowing that, especially as a child, it's very hard for us to tell the difference. So we will then connect validation to love. And now all of a sudden we need external validation from our parents. We need to perform for their love. And you'll see that happen in this will be a theme that shows up over and over again, especially with parents and children, is that concept of colluding with it or rebelling against it. What I mean by that is anytime a parent has a big behavior, like a dominant behavior, the child on a subconscious level has to decide to collude with it. I mean, say, I'm going to take that on and make it bigger, what you did with your mom, or rebel against it completely, right? Like they don't get to live in the middle anytime you have that dominant behavior. And so in this situation where one way it shows up is where it showed up for us, where, we saw that love is conditional. If I perform to a high level, I'll be loved. I'll create accomplishments. People will value my accomplishments. I get that triple threat of treats, if you will. We always refer to them as trauma treats, like those treats that people get and then make it bigger. So I performed 10 times bigger than my dad did. I created 10 times the accomplishments, but did not feel any of the fulfillment that comes with it. Whereas on the other side, you can rebel against it. So some parents are sitting out there are like, I wish my kids were performing for my love, right? Like that'd be nice. You could get the exact opposite thing. So the same problem, right? Driving ambition in a child, desire for change and movement towards it from performing for love, right? Like that can show up on one side of that external validation we're talking about. The other side is that they completely and utterly rebel against it, and in that sense will do nothing. Like they will do the opposite of what you want. Right. And so you can see like some parents that are like, I wish they did that. They might be on the other side where the child on a subconscious, not conscious level, on a subconscious level looked at it and said, screw you. If you're going to withhold your love if I perform, I'm not going to perform at all. Right. And then you have the entire opposite side of that spectrum of active, let's call it active negative behavior, right? Like active, I'm going to do bad to prove that, or justify the fact that your love is conditional.
Yeah. See? Gut punch. Like we said, a gut punch. But it's so interesting because like even as you were describing that now, I was thinking to myself, it's so hard to see when you're in it. I never saw this.
Because what is the parent doing it out of love, or are they doing it out of desire to harm their child? It's always out of love.
Always out of love. Yeah. And if it's love, it's good.
Well, if it's not capital T love, it's not like exactly. If it's not truth that comes from outside of us, not from inside of us and our traumas and our strategies that you learned from your mom, I learned from my dad, and from that perspective, like, oh no, it's the love shows up in a conditional format. That conditional format then creates this connection between what we started with this discussion altogether was when ambition for change comes from the need for external validation. Will the individual produce accomplishments? Yes. Like you produced accomplishments, I produced accomplishments. But what do we give up? We give up fulfillment. We give up happiness. We give up the feeling of being successful regardless of what we produce. So if you act in untruth, or as we would say, lowercase t truth within this, and I connect ambition to external validation, performing for love,
right.
I will produce accomplishments, but you will sacrifice joy, fulfillment, happiness, success. And so unless you get it right, meaning the drive comes from inside as opposed to outside, right? That's the big distinction of, if I am driven by the need for external validation, I will sacrifice fulfillment even if I produce accomplishments. And therefore, ambition that comes from performing for love will not produce the results that we want. It won't produce the experiences of life that we want. It may produce the results that we want.
Yeah, even through my journey and all the treats that I've gotten along the way, whether it's a promotion, whether it's just financial gain, it's better relationships. Like, I think about that, and it was all performance based my entire life, and that's why I always wanted more, or the next thing. Yeah. And I had a moment to celebrate. Okay, high five, good job, Vicky. Yeah. And then, okay, what's next? What's next? Million, what's next? What's next? Yeah. And it was all that performance based instead of that intrinsic drive in myself. And the crazy thing about the intrinsic drive, which we've been working on, is that I want less.
But this is the craziest part, right? So what she's saying is, as the internal drive, what I would then call, from, instead of external drive, I would say internally derived purpose, right? Okay. Living in true purpose. When you move to that, you want less. And when we say want less of the treats. Yeah. Right? Like, want less of the sales, the money, the accomplishments that others would value and prize. You want less of that, but are you producing less? No, that's the craziest part. And I'm like smiling the whole way, all the time, because it's almost like this weight, like this feeling that it's so much pressure. If you think about it, and this happens to so many of us, there's so much pressure to perform. And then when you get it, you're just like, you're relieved you got it. So it released the pressure for just a moment. Yeah. And then now, because it's all external validation, you put another benchmark. And so that's the key point. Loop, right? Why do you put another benchmark?
Oh, because I still have to perform for love, and I don't have this internal.
Because you didn't actually get love.
I didn't get it.
Because it was a false connection. Yes. Right? It was the untruth of saying, well, if I produce this accomplishment, my mom, my husband, my kids will love me. Yeah. Right? As soon as you produce the accomplishment, their love didn't go up or down, because love and accomplishments don't go together. Right. And so you never got what you wanted. So, well, maybe it has to be bigger. And better. So then we're on to the next. Okay, let's move the goalposts. Right. Go to the next one. Right. And the more that we move the goalposts, the bigger it gets, the bigger the accomplishments, the less we feel full, the more we feel empty, because, well, I just made $10 million. Like, I beat everyone in the company, and no one loves me anymore. Yeah. It's all based on the core untruth that love and validation are the same. They're different. Yes. And so if we live in a world where our ambition is driven by the need to perform for love, or comes from an external need because for me, it wasn't to perform for the love of another. It was to perform for the love of self, like to love myself, like to prove myself worthy. Your self-worth. Which is the same exact thing. Like, I was performing to say, well, if I can be a Navy SEAL, then now I'm not a big pansy. Like, I'm not all the weak little kid that all the people said I was when I was small. I was trying to prove it to myself. So I was trying to validate myself through my own personal accomplishments. It doesn't matter if it's from that or if it's to prove for someone else. It's that conditional love of self or conditional love of another tied to our ambition is always never going to be fulfilling. Like, you're just never going to fill us up.
And these are the things, whether it is in relationship or even with finances or career, these are the things that we have to be aware of, because we always say, we get in our own way. We hear this a lot. You see it on social media. Get out of your own way. Get out of your. What does that really mean?
They never say how.
They don't ever give you the tool.
Take one step left. Maybe you be out of the way.
So this
should I duck?
Yeah. Here's a great statement. Good luck. You know, that's all you get. So whereas, like, with
those are my favorite. I love those people that are like, They're the stars, and everyone listens to them. It's like say this statement, and all I have to do is ask, why? Like, how does that work? What do we do about that?
Now what's next? Exactly.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Or my favorite thing is to ask, like, get out of your own way and you can be successful. What do you mean by successful? And they look at me like a blank slate.
Right.
How the hell can you produce success if you don't even know what it is? How can you produce ambition if you don't know what it is?
Right. And I think that is one of the incredible tools like today is that, okay, so we do hear that. You have to get out of your own way, or you're the reason that you haven't hit success yet, or you're the reason that you're miserable, you're the reason of this. But I think it all comes down to the ambition. It all comes down to the ambition.
So we gave one really strong example of where ambition can be driven by the wrong thing, right? So the ambition that came from performing for the love of your mother, say, did that produce change in your life?
Yes.
Yeah, it produced positive change.
And great change.
So that's what's interesting. Ambition in and of itself is just the desire for change and the actions that lead to that change.
Right.
So within that sense, even though it came from the wrong place, it still produced the results, right? Because ambition with action produces change, right? So we got that. But what we're finding here is that one of the key traps that we all get into, and I'm sure we'll have a whole episode on success, right? Which is a whole nother deepening of this entire concept, right? That the ambition coming from the wrong place produces results with no fulfillment, no joy, no happiness.
Yeah.
And so one, understanding that ambition is desire for change. We put no conditions on if it's good or bad, if it's good or bad for me, if it's good or bad for another person, but understanding that ambition driven by the wrong thing can produce results without the fulfillment. The other piece is if you're not conscious of your ambition, right, you can produce change in your life that you don't want. Which is a whole, that's not even it coming from the wrong place. Like we talked about it coming from the wrong place, producing the change we wanted, more success in life, but sacrificing fulfillment because we allowed it to come from outside. Ambition is happening almost always in our life when we're unaware of it. All of a sudden we could have ambition from a subconscious need to some future that we don't want consciously. And that's where a lot of us find ourselves in a whole lot of action, a whole lot of work, a whole lot of effort, but never producing the life that we want.
Those are the people that are like, what's my purpose? Why am I here? Very unfulfilled. Because it's all out of need, right? Yeah. Rather than out of want.
Or that one, and you've seen these people that say they want, say, financial stability, but spend money all the time.
Yeah.
Right? So their ambition to have stuff, their need to have debt so they can be reliant on others, all on a subconscious level, right? Like this isn't conscious because no one takes on a whole bunch of debt because they want to be reliant on someone consciously. It's all a subconscious piece. But their subconscious need to be reliant on others, their subconscious need to have things is producing ambition to be in debt and not be financially stable or free. And so you can have ambition towards a direction you don't want to go when you're not aware of it.
Yeah. It kind of, now we're talking a little bit about the financial. So we've kind of hit a little career, a little family / relationship, a little bit of financial. And there's one trend. For me, it all comes down to external validation and performing for love and carrying it through all of those things. So it's not that in this area of life, I'm doing things differently. I'm doing the behaviors. I'm doing the same exact behavior, expecting the result that I've always gotten since I was a small child in all areas of life. So if we could just figure out that, what I'm hearing is we have a life with a little more joy, fulfillment, happiness, probably a little bit more intentional, and freedom.
Yeah, and that's where saying how do we create the environment, the opportunity where we can leverage ambition in our own lives, because it's just a tool, right? It's this neutral tool that can produce problems everywhere if we're not careful, as we just brought up 2 huge places where it creates problems, right? How can I leverage ambition as a tool to create the change that I consciously want, or change as again, we'll be talking about on this podcast often, the changes of being in full alignment in the highest consciousness and subconscious, right? That alignment. How do I leverage ambition for aligned change in my own life? And then another piece, I know you've experienced this, I've experienced this, all my clients have experienced it. As soon as you get free from a lot of these things, all you want is everyone around you that you care about. And even you don't, like, at least for me, hence the podcast, I don't even care about all these people that are watching it because I don't know them, and yet I want them to be free too. And so then you step into the whole nother use of ambition of how do I create ambition for change in someone else, for aligned change in someone else. Like, those become tools not only for ourselves, but tools for others. And in order to do that, and this is where I love my autistic engineer brain of saying, oh, there's a formula for it, right? And if you understand the formula for ambition, you can leverage it for yourself or for others. And especially when we get to, because there's a whole bunch of skeptics out there right now. I don't know if skeptic's the right word, but there's a whole bunch of people that are saying, oh, if you understand, so you're saying, what I'm hearing you say, Larry, is that you can create ambition on demand in people. And if I can create ambition on demand for you, that means that I can create movement towards some direction for you, right? Yes. If I can do that, well, isn't that manipulation? So am I not manipulating you? So ambition is manipulation, where I'm going to manipulate you to do what I want you to do. And to me, the throughout this podcast over and over again, we're going to talk about these tools to be able to create behavior change in yourself and others. And so that same question of, well, isn't that just manipulation, is going to come up. And for me, there's a very clear distinction between leadership and ambition, manipulation. So leadership at its most fundamental level is creating positive change in another's life, right? Like, that's it, changing their behavior, modifying their behavior. That's all leadership is. Manipulation is the same thing, modifying another's behavior. There's a big difference between the two. And the big difference between leadership and manipulation is that when I lead, I create behavior change in your life that benefits you and may or may not benefit me. When I manipulate you, I benefit myself at your cost. At your expense. Are they the same tools? 100% the same tools.
Same tools, 2 different intentions. 2
different intentions. So, and really 2 different outcomes. If I have the intent to better your life and better mine, and I see that I actually created detriment to your life and bettered mine, well, I just used my power for bad, not good. And so for me, can these tools, like when we get into how do I specifically create feelings of ambition for change in another, how do I make sure that I don't do that in manipulation? It's constantly keeping awareness of, is this making your life better and my life better, not my life better at your expense. So I always think that's important to put out there, because I don't want a whole bunch of people shut off like, oh, they're just teaching you how to manipulate stuff. No, that's not. Well, yes and
yes and no.
Hopefully not.
Okay, right.
And if you do, you will suffer in the end, so it's up to you.
Right. And it is always a choice.
Yeah, it's your choice.
It's always a choice.
Thanks for listening to Capital T Truth. Subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode. As you know, the work doesn't stop when the episode ends. For more, visit the website at CapitalTTruth.org to submit a question to be answered live on a future podcast. We also invite listeners onto the podcast to work directly with me, where we dive into your personal strategies of survival and we solve them live. Until next time, live in Capital T Truth.